All right, today we're jumping into a real digital detective story. We're going to go hunting for cyber threats, the kind that are literally designed to be invisible.
So here's the big question, right? How in the world do you catch a hacker who doesn't leave a single trace on the hard drive? I mean, if traditional security is all about finding bad files, what happens when there are no files to find?
Well, meet our main suspect, fileless malware. This thing is the ghost we're hunting. It's malicious software that lives and breathes entirely inside a computer's short-term memory, or RAM. That means your typical antivirus software, which is busy scanning files on the hard drive, is completely blind to it. It's looking in all the wrong places.
And this is what makes it so tough. The malware is active, it's dangerous, but there's no physical footprint, nothing left behind on the disk. It really is like a ghost in the machine. So to catch it, we can't be archaeologists digging up the past. We have to be there in the moment, seeing what's happening right now.
Okay, so if we're going to catch this ghost, our first job as digital detectives is to cordon off the crime scene and grab the evidence before it just disappears. And that crime scene, it's the computer's volatile memory, what we all call RAM. You can think of it as the computer's active workspace. It holds the real-time state of the system, all the live action. And you know, the stuff you can find inside this crime scene is absolutely golden. We're talking about everything that's happening live, not just running programs and network connections, but the real juicy stuff for our investigation, like the actual malicious code that's been injected, hidden scripts, and even super sensitive data like encryption keys or passwords an attacker is trying to steal. It's all right there.
But, and this is a huge but, all of this evidence is incredibly fragile. The second that computer loses power, poof, the RAM gets wiped clean. It's all gone, forever. So the absolute #1 priority for an investigator is to get a memory snapshot from that live system before it's too late.
All right, so we've got our snapshot. We've frozen the crime scene in time. Now the real hunt begins. We've got to sift through all this data to find a suspect who is doing everything they can to hide from us.
You know, modern malware is seriously clever. One of its favorite tricks is to hide from the operating system itself. It basically messes with the system's internal bookkeeping to unlink itself from the official list of running programs. So it's still active, it's still doing damage, but as far as the OS is concerned, it doesn't even exist. So how do we find something that's officially invisible? Well, we use two different ways to look. The first method, often called PS list, it's like looking at the tenant directory in a big apartment building. It just shows you the official list of who's registered to be there. But the second method, PS scan, that's a total sweep. It's like going door to door and knocking on every single one to see who's actually inside, whether they're on the list or not. It finds everybody.
And when you compare those two lists, this is what you get. The ghost just pops right out. You see, normal programs like Chrome and Explorer, they're on both lists, no problem. But then, look at this xmr.exe. It's not on the official list, but our door-to-door sweep found it. That difference right there, that's our smoking gun.
Okay, so we found our hidden suspect. We have them. But now we have to figure out, what were they up to? It's time to interrogate the evidence and uncover the entire plot.
So our first big clue is something called process ancestry. And yeah, you can really think of it like a program's family tree. See, every single process on your computer was started by another one, its parent. By looking at these parent-child relationships, we can spot some really weird, abnormal behavior. For example, here's a perfectly normal family tree. The main Windows Explorer process launches Notepad when you double-click a text file. Makes total sense. This is exactly what we expect to see. But now, look at this. A web server process suddenly launching a command prompt? Whoa, that is not normal. A web server's job is to serve web pages, not give someone a command line to type into. This is a giant red flag, a classic sign that an attacker has compromised a website and is now running commands directly on the server.
Okay, clue number 2, the command line itself. These are the specific instructions, the orders, if you will, that were given to a program when it started. This is gold because it can reveal the attacker's true intentions and tell us exactly what they were trying to accomplish.
And a lot of the time, this is what we see. Just a long, garbled mess of characters. This is what an encoded command looks like. Attackers do this all the time to hide their malicious scripts from simple antivirus scanners. But the beautiful thing about memory forensics is we can grab this whole string right out of memory and decode it to reveal the entire nasty attack script.
All right, our third clue comes from looking at the tools a process is using. In the Windows world, these are usually called DLLs, which are basically shared toolkits of code. A program loads these toolkits to get the functions it needs to do its job.
And this is where attackers get really sneaky. They abuse this system. Instead of running their own obviously malicious program, they'll find a totally legitimate process, something you trust, like your web browser, and they'll hijack it. They force it to load their malicious library, their malicious toolkit. We call this hijacked program a sacrificial process, and it lets the malware blend in perfectly with all the normal system activity. Super sneaky.
So you see, when we start putting all of these clues together, the hidden processes, those suspicious family trees, the decoded command lines, the injected code, we start to get a crystal clear picture of the entire attack. This is the modern digital detective's edge. And to make this whole process way faster, especially when you're dealing with hundreds or thousands of computers, investigators use a really powerful technique called baselining. It's simple, really. You take a snapshot of a known good, totally clean system. That's your baseline of what normal looks like. Then, you just automatically compare a suspicious machine against that baseline. The differences, the anomalies, they just light up, pointing you directly to the attacker's activity.
And if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this. Traditional disk forensics, that shows you what happened in the past. It's history. But memory analysis, that reveals the attack as it's happening, right now, in real time. It gives you a front row seat to an active breach. And it's by hunting for these ghosts in the machine that digital detectives can uncover the absolute stealthiest threats out there, the kinds of attacks that would otherwise go completely, totally unseen. Which, of course, leaves us with one last question to think about. This whole thing is a constant cat and mouse game, right? So as the detectives get better and better at seeing these ghosts, how will the next generation of cyber ghosts evolve to hide all over again?